Okay, Andre, back again. Must
Yeah,
must be around 6 or 7 now. So,
something like that.
yeah,
I just jump into it right away, you know.
yeah. Get straight into it. Page number 9.
Yeah, page 407. Becoming master in our own house isn't for the person with a weak constitution who will give up at the slightest of temptations. However, if we can achieve some level of abstinence from the cravings of the body, we can then dedicate more time to our spiritual journey.
And that's very interesting because just before we click record,
Yeah,
we were speaking about how you live on the coast, and you very
yeah,
often go in the sea in wintertime when it's like 4 degrees and really freezing. You take cold water showers for 10, 12 minutes or something every morning, and you're very disciplined in your yoga and working out and all that sort of stuff. And so, yeah, you've become master in your own house. You
yeah,
know when things, are going wrong in your mind. You can
yeah,
take action to deal with those instead of
yeah,
getting carried away thinking that you're not master in your own home. So,
yeah. It's a
yeah,
training ground all the time, all the day is a training ground in a way, you know, and
yeah.
also a way to learn about one's own mind and learn about other people's minds and so on, you know.
Indeed,
And
because if you don't know how your own mind works, then you're never going to work out how anybody else's.
yeah, because if because I always get input from others as well. I get input from you. I get input from other people around my vicinity, and so on. Um, then certain things they might see that I don't see, and I can keep myself on the path and so on, you know. But
Mhm.
yeah, I am very aware of how my mind works and so on. Yeah, and
And when your mind tells you that you want maybe to be lazy, do you ever feel lazy at all, or are you always disciplined?
I don't like to waste too much time
Yeah.
because okay, I take 3 weeks off the gym. No, I would never take 3 weeks off the gym, not even 1 week, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just go there and so on. And also remind oneself to have a good middle ground. So even when you I work out not so hard one day, I still work out pretty hard, you know.
Hmm.
But be observant of the body and so on. Also, if I get a little pinch in the knee or something like that,
Yeah.
I will think, aha, maybe I should go down in the weights for a little bit, a
Yeah.
while,
But
so
still,
that doesn't get worse
yes,
or something
always
like
doing
that.
something. That's what I'm like. Always like I've always been mindful of not wasting any time. And so my life today, very sedentary. I can't imagine how I did the things I did in my life. I can't imagine how I was running a business with 20 staff, and I had to cater for a whole magnitude of stuff, working, many hours a day and always kind of on call. Because now my life, I don't do any of that, but I am busy from the moment I get out of bed to the moment I go to sleep with different things. And
Yeah,
so when I'm watching lots of people who are prominent on the YouTube circuit these days, prominent people. I watch a lot of debates, intellectuals, and all that sort of thing, and they're all over the place. And interview here in Canada, interview there in America, doing this group of lectures around Europe and then back in America. I'm like, my God, I I really start to question whether this reality is real because it seems completely unfeasible and impractical. For instance, Jordan Peterson, you can go online and watch videos, and one day is in America, the next day is in Canada, the next day is in London, the next day he's back, in another American state or this, that, and the other. And then he's talking to this person, that person, this person, that person, always in different buildings, different hotels, and everything. And I find it absolutely unimaginable. The amount of traveling and organizing one must do. What drives them? Is it their ego because they want more views? They want to build their channel. What on earth is it all about? But what I do know is from listening to people, they get very envious about one another. Who's got the most views? And
Hmm.
then, there is this kind of like, view count envy that they've all got. And so that
Hmm.
tells me that it's all about ego. It's all about ego and money because, of course, they're all getting very wealthy. And it's kind of like a game. Have you interviewed this person? Have you interviewed that person? Oh, yes, I interviewed this person and I said this to him and I asked that and he couldn't respond. And oh, yes, that was the same with me. All this stuff going on. And I look at it and I listen to these people. I like listening to intellectual people. But I'm thinking to myself, what really is the benefit of any of it? And to be quite frank, in real terms, there is no benefit at all about any of it. It's just intellectual wanking. That's all it is. Only they are doing it for £100,000 a day.
Hmm. So, but there must be some authenticity as well, where they feel they help certain people as well. You know.
Oh well, I don't know. Help them in what way? I mean, for instance, I listen to a philosophical channel and an atheist channel. Well,
Yeah.
what is the atheist channel helping people to be? Atheists, they're most certainly not helping people to be religious and get any religious benefits. So
No,
it
no,
seems
that's
to
for
do, if
sure.
anything, they want to destroy any notion of religion.
Yeah.
So that isn't helping anybody
Hmm.
in lots of respects. I mean, I always have a go, and I say religious people are the stupid of the stupid. And of course, there's nothing helpful about what I'm saying at all. But I'm not proclaiming to be helpful. I just speak my mind, and I endeavour to shock and to demean and whatever I say. I don't care because nobody's paying me £100,000 a day. They're not paying me £1 a day, so I am absolutely free to say whatever I want. I believe that is valuable. That is very, very valuable. And
Yeah, it's very valuable because
yeah,
then somebody snaps that up. Aha, he's authentic. I can be authentic too, or something like that. Yeah.
yeah, because when you watch these people and they're having debates, they're just mental masturbation. Trying to outfox each other, conveying who's the brightest. If they were trying to help people, Andre, they'd have subject matters. How can we help people suffering from anxiety, from depression, from any other mental disposition, being lazy or not being healthy? Let us try and really help humanity. No, they don't. They're highfalutin about things most people don't understand or never even come upon in their life. It's just
Yeah.
complete a wanking fucking fest. That's all it is.
Yeah.
A wanking fest. And
Hmm.
so I look back at my life, and if a couple of people send me a couple of texts, and maybe if I get two emails in one day, I'm kind of like inundated. That's too much for me.
Yeah.
because that is distracting me from my regular stuff, my going to the gym, my exercising, my eating well, my meditation, my playing music, my learning to sing, and my quality time with my little furry friends, and all this sort of stuff. If I've got to get involved with this fucking bullshit out there, I start to feel very affronted about it all. And I
Yeah.
just can't imagine these days how anybody works 8 or 10 hours a day, 5 or 6 days a week. It's absolutely unimaginable for me.
Yeah. It's horrendous.
You see, Andre, because you've lived like I've lived for so long, if all of a
Yeah.
sudden you had to work 8 hours and you had to travel 1 hour to and 1 hour back, and then you've got to rush around to do all the shopping and the cooking just to feed yourself, and then by the time it's 10 o'clock, you're fucking knackered, you get into bed and you do it again. There's no time for the gym, there's no time for your reading, there's no time for your book clubs, there's no time for conversations like this and all that. And it's kind of like, what the fuck's going on? Why would you be doing anything like that?
Yeah. I would do it anyway,
Do what?
but do I want? No, no. And
No, yeah, I'd say would you would do it anyway. I mean, for instance, look, when I
yeah,
was working, I always still went to the gym,
yeah,
and it's kind of like you just do find the time to do the things that you want to do because you have the drive, and as a young person, you have the energy.
yeah. And even when the ice is starting to roll back in your brain like this, you go into the gym and you do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right. A good level of discipline. Okay, so
yeah,
we've gone completely off track, but I just thought I'd say those things. But
yeah,
what that question or line was about then, it's kind of like who actually is in control of their minds and bodies, really.
yeah.
We're
If
very
it's their
disciplined.
desires and so on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, you and I, we're very disciplined, but there's not too many people. It's a very small percentage of people. Most
yeah,
people, they're very easily drawn into the pub, to the pizza parlor, to buy another packet of cigarettes and, just to sit in front of mindless television and all that. They seem quite content by that,
yeah,
which is very bizarre if you ask me.
yeah. I have a very little perspective on it because my friends are also disciplined,
Right.
and so on. So we value that.
Mm.
And before I know those friends I have now, I was also disciplined. Before
Mm.
I had those as friends.
Yeah.
So we strengthen each other in a way. We keep on
Yeah, well,
track.
that's good to have a little community of friends like that. I never had that. I had people like me in the gyms I used to go to, but they
Yeah.
weren't really my friends. We
Oh.
just had that thing in common. I tried going out with them, and I went around some of these people's houses, and I found that they had no character at all. The houses was empty of anything personal. It was just stupid showroom furniture. No art and no knickknacks and nothing that meant anything about their lives. And you wouldn't even know who lived in the house when you went in. But, instantly, you come into my house and you've got a very strong impression of the variety of
Yeah.
person that lives in my house.
Yeah.
Um, Sigmund Freud, he said in the early 1900s, he said that there's been three major devastating blows to the human psyche. Devastating blows to the human psyche. One of them was that we discerned that we weren't the center of the universe because the cosmos didn't revolve around us. Second one was that God doesn't exist. And the third one was that we're not even master in our own home because most people haven't got a clue what's going on inside here. So I
Yeah.
was listening to pretty well a monologue. Which a friend of mine recorded today whilst he spoke to somebody, and he was speaking to them about spirituality and things like that. And the person he was speaking to didn't have a clue about anything that he was speaking about. And this person is dealing with these sort of people all the time. And very, very seldom do we meet anyone that's versed in this stuff. We really are a rarity. And it's just bizarre. It's just bizarre how the world is given to social drones, just
Yeah.
social drones that don't really know anything about anything, unless, of course, they've gone to university to study something in particular.
Yeah. But the thing in there is like they often just learn what to say, not
Yeah.
they don't learn how to think and formulate themselves outside the box of the narrow
Yeah, they just receive
vicinity of the
another program.
university.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but some people, they have minds of their own, and
yeah,
they don't get affected like that. And the people I listen to is like this particular guy. He's called Alex O'Connor, and it's Within Reason podcast, and he's a natural, very 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 bright person, and so he speaks with all the other bright people on the circuit, and they also have their own minds and their own way of looking at things, and they're very well read, very well studied, on all this sort of thing. But then you do get people coming out of university with degrees in philosophy, and they say Kant said this, and Schopenhauer said that, and Jung reckoned this, and that's all they could ever speak about.
yeah,
Just always reading other people's work, and then having debates about who said what, and trying to proclaim a certain level of intellectualism when there's no intellectualism there at all. Just a program.
yeah. Interesting. I thought about a girl that I met at the gym. We started to talk, and yeah, we talked a bit about Nietzsche and so on. And she said, "Yeah, I like Nietzsche, but I don't think he's for like younger guys who look at too much Andrew Tate and at the same time have read 48 Laws of Power." And I think that was a pretty good observation, actually,
Yeah,
because then you will misinterpret Nietzsche maybe and take that upon like that. Yeah.
and that was very astute for a girl because she'd obviously read the 48 Laws of Power.
Yeah.
She'd obviously read Nietzsche, and she obviously had listened to a lot of Andrew Tate. And she'd made her own decision about, what could be going on. And
Yeah.
so I would think that's quite a rare girl or woman.
Yeah.
Hmm. How old was she?
Don't know really.
25, 35, 45?
Maybe 25, 27, maybe
Right.
something there in between.
Yeah.
Can be 24 also, but some things like that is very hard to say.
Mm.
It's hard to see like how old somebody is at times.
Why do you think that is then?
She was intelligent. She
Yeah,
was
but yeah, I
yeah.
mean, how why is it so difficult to see how old somebody is? I mean, of course,
Because there's some that are younger can look a bit older and so on.
yeah, they can sometimes, but generally,
Yeah,
we're pretty
yeah. I
much
can see is
we can be
right.
within 5 years, can't we, of judging
Yeah,
someone's age? Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so let's have a go at the next line, and otherwise we'll never get through it.
Yeah. Yeah, this one is on page 408. That's to say, when we embroil ourselves within the ever pervasive concept of the past, what we are doing is creating phantoms within our minds of scenarios that we pretend to ourselves to have an existence still, when in fact the as uh, when when in fact the spectres that we create are within our fictitious world of dreamlike memories. Effectively, all we are doing is resurrecting the dead. We generate energy from that can destroy or calm energy forms that can destroy or calm disposition by reinventing scenarios from our dreamscape. We invite ghosts into our minds, which on many occasions are not positive energies, i.e., memories of things we wish to have never happened. And we would be much better off letting go so that we can concentrate on the only semblance of anything that could be referred to as real in this dimension that of spirit, which is ever pervasive here and now. Yeah, letting go of the past, letting go of all the things that are not conducive for oneself.
Even things. Well, I don't
Even
really know.
even things that are better things,
Yeah, I mean,
maybe.
you see, what I say there is, look, whenever we dwell on memories, uh, we are creating spectres. Just another word for ghosts. So, I use different words to make it more interesting and less boring.
Yeah,
But if we have a memory, oh, this memory of this girl, well, the chances are that the memory uh, didn't reflect the reality,
yeah,
because it was your fantasy going on. It was
yeah,
your creation. And you could have this memory, oh, this wonderful girl, we had a great time. But if someone's asking her about the relationship with you, then she could say, oh, no, he was boring. I was only with him for 3 weeks or something. And so a complete different idea of what was going on. And
yeah,
so whose memory was right? You know,
yeah,
and to who? So just a fiction. So what I'm saying here, what we do is when we remember these things, remember, we put back the members, we build something back, and the chances are you build it back wrong, and particularly as time goes on, we would place the wrong members in the wrong place. Probably will
yeah,
stick a leg here when it should be an arm, an ear here when it should be an eye, remembering things, we're putting things back. And, oh,
yeah.
yeah, this girl, I remember, and I think her dad was a doctor and her mother was a dentist, and, probably not.
Uh,
Oh, no, that was
then
after.
idealizing a lot and
Yeah,
so
and
on.
all these sort of things. So I'm asking, what is the point in dragging up ghosts to fill your head? Because even if the memories were quite a likeness to whatever happened, and you'd only ever know if there were quite a likeness to whatever happened if you got a general consensus there, and if two or three or five of your friends or her friends agreed what you remembered about her. Oh, yeah, you and her, you had a great time and you were really bonded. So you think, my memory isn't too, foggy. But memories invariably, they are very foggy and they're very twisted, and they are perverted with emotions and all different sorts of things. So
Yeah,
I'm saying, why fill your head up with all that shit?
yeah,
Why not just free yourself and be now, be here and now,
yes,
concentrating on what is now? Because in actual fact, there is no past. The past is the fantasy, it's an illusion. So all you're doing is creating an illusion and you're stealing away your life presently by not being here. Because if you're
yeah,
dwelling about the so called past, you're not here, are you? You're not paying attention to what's here. So all we'll
yeah,
do is, Andre, because if we go through our life like, oh, remembering, well, we're never present, and so we would never really be conscious when we are here. So we couldn't compile precise memories because we were, in fact, never fucking here. you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And not only that, this good memories brings about sentimentality and nostalgia and so on. And then one is longing towards the past as well. So it's not only positive within either,
Yeah,
because this is something you lost when you can have something here and now instead.
yes, yeah. So if you're remembering bad shit, then you are dragging the dead with you, literally.
Yeah,
And if you are remembering good shit, then you're trying to resurrect the dead.
yeah,
Because whatever it is, it's dead.
yeah,
And so, it's like just walking in a graveyard at midnight on Halloween. All you're going to find is spooks and ghosts and demons, you know? And so, I ponder these things and I'm like, well, there's no point to it. There's no point to it at all. So shed your skin on a daily basis, like a snake.
yeah.
Shed your skin, shed your skin, shed your skin. Become something new every single day and disregard the past like a snake disregards its
Yeah.
shell or snake skin.
Yeah. Don't cling. Don't hold on to things. Yeah.
Yeah. And you see, the whole philosophy of Buddhism, Gautama Buddha, um, Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, uh, he realized that there was no past, there is no future, and if we can emancipate ourselves from notions of those two things, then we will emancipate ourselves of most of the suffering.
Yeah.
Because suffering, the future pertains to lust, desire, anxiety, the unknown, and all different sorts of things. The past pertains to, anger, regret, and clinging on to maybe something that we did like, and all different sorts of things. But they're all Maya. They're all Maya. And the only thing that is real is present. So again, just be present and just live your life.
Yeah. That
So,
is
what did you really take from that? Did you feel as if you possessed any of these demons? I mean, look, demons, ghosts, or energy draining memories. If you lusting after an old girlfriend or a girl that you never got, and it's the one that got away, all these sort of things, and your mind said, "Oh, damn, that girl got away. I should have done this. I should have done that. If only I'd have done this, then I could have been with her, or I could have at least spent some time with her." And so, what is this demon that's tormenting your mind?
yeah. That's about an thing that I have gone through recently, but it feels like I have also been able to let go, not 100%, but maybe 80 or 90%.
Yeah.
So I'm on the way there, I know what it takes to let go fully, also. So it's just a little more time.
Yes, I had a girl haunting me for 2 years of my own doing, of course, because I
Yeah,
was incessantly obsessing about her,
yeah,
just wanting to have a relationship with this girl, and uh, she was on my mind every single day for 2 years. And
yeah,
I was infatuated and obsessed, as a much younger man. Um, and looking back, it prevented me from having new relationships because my heart wasn't in it. And so I was like in purgatory. I was in no man's land. I was out of one relationship, but never even close to entering another one. And
mhm.
so we have to realize, you see,
Have that, yeah, have
yeah,
that.
if you equate all the happenings in life to spirits, Andre. If we do
Yeah.
that, then we will be much closer to emancipating ourselves um, from all the so-called spectres, ghosts, and demons, and beguiling angels, or whatever. If we're lusting after some grand future, like lots of people are with their jobs and their vocations and their fantasies, well, they are stealing away their life now, dwelling in the past. They're stealing away their life, and so it's a no-brainer that we should clear our house out and become master in our own house, instead of having all of these entities which many wouldn't be welcome, but the ones that we even welcome in, they're just ideas, and they are portals to our own torment and suffering.
Yeah. I think I've been able to let go of a lot of the things from the past, actually.
And how do you do that?
Um, 2010, I let go of certain things I wrote down on a paper. And then I did this very often in front of the mirror, and I let go of this, let go of that. So what was tapping on things even that happened in childhood that I had felt sorrow or shame for,
Mm,
even things where I was just 5 years old that I still had a feeling of, oh, I did something bad there, you know?
right.
So that disappeared. Like,
Yes.
so I went through that when I was 24 or something. I did this and in front of the mirror, and apparently it has worked.
Well, I mean, I was doing it only, let's say, a year and a half ago or something like that.
Yeah,
And you get instant results from it. It really is bizarre. I don't know. You see, when you read about this tapping, I don't know whether there's any efficacy, and there's no science involved which would say it's any more efficacious than a placebo. But
yeah,
you see, the placebo is a very powerful thing, and so that in itself is efficacious. The placebo is efficacious. So
yeah.
when people, stupid scientists, are trying to see if this is real and that's real, none of it's fucking real. There isn't a single thing that's real on the fucking planet in the cosmos. So when they're focusing on this to see if this is real and to see if that's real, they're all acting like stupid degenerates. They really are. Because, these scientists, what I always say, look, scientists, let's just say you're all operating from the same building. Well, just go down to number fucking 224, where the quantum physicists work, and say, oh, quantum physicists, I've been thinking about this and I've been thinking about that. I've been looking what's real here and what's real there. What do you think about that? They'll tell you nothing's fucking real. There's nothing here. There's no matter.
Yeah.
So forget about it. Just go back to sleep, or just fucking go walking in the woods, or go and spend time with your children. Stop fucking wasting your time with this shit.
Hmm.
It's all illusion. It's all Maya. And you
Yeah,
see, when we
they
do
want
these
to
things,
hold on to
we get some results from it. All we've done, we've just hypnotized ourselves.
Yeah, yeah, I get that because there can be, if we just go by theory, there are pressure points and there are
Oh,
meridians that,
we'll make any sort of wonderful story up in our
yeah,
imagination, you know?
absolutely. It could also be that because you are tapping like this, you become more present in that part of the body or something like that, also. So you
Yeah,
get more in tune to the body because you feel this tapping on the body.
yeah. But, if you look at doing that, and then if you look at praying to Jesus, well,
Yeah.
what's the difference?
Yeah.
There's no difference. It's just mind. People can say, "Oh, well, yeah, the body's real, and we've got these pressure points." And no, no, the body's real on one level.
Yeah.
Like I say, go knocking on the quantum physicist doors. They'll tell you that the body isn't real.
Yeah.
Go and have a word with a Buddhist. They'll tell you that the body isn't real.
Yeah.
Go and have a word with any spiritualist. They'll tell you, no, the body is a delusion. Go and ask a philosopher, is the body real? They'll tell you, no, it's just an illusion.
Yeah.
So, we human beings, we're just picking stupid fucking things all the time. We're in a dream and we just keep dreaming and dreaming, dreaming and dreaming and dreaming. It's
Yeah.
very interesting.
The last thing to let go of is every sensory perception. Like in Buddhism, you let go of even the body, everything.
Yes, you see, when you on your meditation, and I had a meditation before started this chat, and I'm sitting there for about 40 minutes, and I'm nowhere, and I'm nothing. I'm nowhere. I'm no thing. The cosmos doesn't exist. Nothing exists. Absolutely nothing exists. That's the true state of what this thing is. It's that nothingness, expanse of consciousness, which dreams things into being. And as soon as I open my eyes, I collapse the probability wave function as per quantum physics. Consciousness collapses the probable outcome of the cosmos because there's only probability there until consciousness focuses on something and has a belief in it. So, are you very familiar with the quantum double slit experiment?
Yeah, I have looked into quantum physics before. Tell me a little bit about that experiment.
So, the quantum double slit experiment is where they fire individual photons uh,
Yes, yes, yes.
at
Looked
a
into that.
board where they've got two slits in.
Yeah,
And the main thing about it is that when that operation isn't being observed, then it's just a wave function. And the
yeah,
particle, the single particle, isn't an actual fact a particle, it's a wave. And it goes through both of the slits. Whereas when it's being observed, the bizarre thing about the cosmos, it manifests into particles. So when something, a camera, is observing the experiment, the wave probability function manifests into a photon and then goes through one of the slits because that's what we as conscious entities need to happen to have a structure in this world. It cannot be it goes through both slits, and if there's 1,000 slits there, it would go through 1,000 slits because that would be absolutely impossible in our minds. And in this reality. So, therefore, it has to conform to the rules of this reality, this fiction. And so it goes through one slit when it's being watched, and when it's not being watched, it goes through both. So that just goes to show that it's consciousness which is creating this thing.
yes,
So when you go into a meditation, you enter into the cosmic field of probability, where
yeah,
nothing is real, nothing's manifest at all. But when you open your eyes and your consciousness comes back online, everything, all the atoms all around you congeal into the things that you project: plant pot, amplifier, computer screen, microphone, because we've built these all up into our fictitious reality.
yeah,
Yeah, it's very bizarre when you look at it like that. And that's why we have to know that we are God. Every single one of us that's got this consciousness, we are creating this dream.
yeah. Hmm.
Fascinating stuff. Next line, Andre.
Yeah. On page 412, it starts, then go over to 413. So I seriously began to contemplate the idea that when we feel spiritually low, we could leave our etheric bodies open to negative energy attachments, which enter our energy field to feed or dwell within that low frequency life force.
Mm.
Yeah. That's where the change of behavior could come in from other people as well.
Yeah, just let me grab a prop. This book
Yeah.
is one of two, and then she wrote another one called The Secret Doctrine, which is a double volume. So she's wrote this thick of stuff about the supernatural.
Yeah.
Right back from the very beginning of anybody that knew anything about the supernatural. And she's quoting Plato and Aristotle and oh, Swedenborg and everybody that's ever been anybody. They all, get a mention here if they said anything about the spirits. And in Plato's day, Plato and Socrates, they were talking about daemons,
Yes.
spirits that dwell within them. And they can be many. And so this is what I worked out in my own intuition and experience of watching myself very closely, seeing different energies come in me and leave me. Some have stayed for years, some stay for a few days, or weeks, months, or whatever. But if we are very, very finely tuned into what's going on here, then we will know when other entities come in. And how to know is when you become very, very passionate about something. You could be really angry, really aggressive. You could be very afraid. You could be very amorous. You could be a whole bunch of things which you are not generally. And you go, where did that come from?
Yeah.
People too simplistic these days. Oh, it's just a personality trait. Oh, you just feel no, 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 no. You don't know what you're talking about. You really don't know what you're talking about, and you've been so closed down from the spiritual dimension through years of materialism, which has made you automated husks that haven't got a single clue that entities are dwelling within you all throughout your lives. And so,
Yeah.
when the biggest brains on the planet have been speaking about this stuff, some people have listened. And if you listen to David Icke started off on this theme 30 years ago. And then, he went through a whole bunch of stuff. But now, in his latest book, The Reveal, he's speaking about this interdimensional connection which attached to human beings. Uh,
Yeah.
and some of it is evil, but some of it is beautiful. Some of it is good because there's all different sorts of spirits. And when we read anything which is metaphysical, even if you read the Old Testament and the New Testament, it's talking about angels and devils and demons. For God's sake, it's been speaking about them. Human beings have been speaking about them forever, and yet we all think it's a metaphor these days. It isn't. And when you
Yeah.
know that you are not a physical body, you are in actual fact a pure spirit having the fantasy of a human existence. Well, when you start reading this shit, then yeah, you'll find a lot more acceptance to it.
Mm. Yeah.
As I'm always
Many different thoughts that comes to mind through this.
yes,
Uh, I mean, I experienced another person's spirit at one or something that came from my father at a certain point in time.
Came
Where,
from your father,
yeah, when I was with my father,
right?
in a way that I usually don't act, I started to act. Oh, then I caught myself in it because it wasn't a good way of being.
Yep.
It was a demeaning way of being, and I'm not like that usually, but that was a time when I started to get a little bit closer to my father.
Right.
So
So what do you think happened? Did a spirit that your father had cross over into you?
yeah, I think that might be the case because I wouldn't otherwise treat a person like that. That's just not how it usually is. So
Yeah.
I wasn't aware right there and then, but I started to think about it. That wasn't okay.
Yes. So in that book, I don't know what chapter it is. I'm speaking about gremlin attachments.
Yes.
Have you read that yet?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm saying in there is that we're all carrying these energies, and these energies. Look, what we know is when we are on the spiritual path and we're getting very, very spiritual, uh, spiritual people get attacked. And this is very, very well known through the spiritual fraternity. They say
Yeah.
the more spiritual you are, the more you will be attacked or compromised or challenged or, offered, like Jesus in the desert. Compromised by Satan. You can have all this if you worship me. The story of Faust.
Yeah.
Goethe's Faust with Mephistopheles, offering Faust 9 years, to fulfill his lust with a woman a fraction of his age, and all this sort of stuff. Only if you sign here, yeah, all this stuff goes on. And so, what these are metaphors for the real thing. But what actually happens is you feel something. There's an energy within you which is guiding you to do something which you know you shouldn't do. For instance, if you know that someone down the street has got £10,000 under their bed, then you might start thinking, how difficult would it be for me to break in that house, when they're not there, and steal that money and all these different sorts of things. And then if you did that, you broke into the house and then somebody unexpectedly was there, and you're like, oh my god, that person recognized me now. If I let them live, then I'll go to prison for this, that, and the other. So you smashed them on the head. And this is very much like Crime and Punishment, Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment,
Mm.
where a robbery goes wrong. And so do we answer to these demons, or do we reject them? Do we reject them when they start whispering in our ear? Oh, down the street, that man has 10,000. No, no, no. You see? And so
Yeah,
this is
it's
how they come along.
important to have principles, a spine, and to reject the devil when he's talking.
Yes, and so Christians, or Christians, they would say it's the devil, and the devil is a metaphor, of course, for
Yeah,
any number of negative entity which tries to um, play with you. Because look, if you look at it like this, if you look, there's all these free radicals entities flying around. Let's say they call them elementals.
yeah,
Elementals, spirits that never had a connection with their. No, let's say souls. Souls which never had a connection with their spirit, because the spirit is different to a soul. And so they never went on to the next place, be it heaven or whatever it is. So they float around in purgatory, right? And because they're floating around in no man's land, then they make manifest and cause trouble within this earth realm because they've got such an attachment to it. They were very low conscious beings when they were here. They knew nothing about the spiritual realm and higher consciousness, so they never evolved. And so when the body dies, the soul continues to be a ghost. To haunt, and then it will mess with people. And so, in that book, in the 1800s, it was very, very prolific all over the Western world. These seances with tap-ins on the table and moving tables and, apparitions and all different sorts of stuff like that. Communicating with the dead, necromancy. So yeah, spirits. Any way you look at it,
Yeah.
and if people deny them, then they will never know what's going on here in this dimension.
No.
So you see, that book that you've got there, hold it up
Yeah.
for the viewers, just in case they've forgotten what it looks like.
Please.
Um, this is why the people that have read it so far, yeah, okay, no problem. Got it. The people that have read it, I've got nothing to say about it because they just do not see the depth and magnitude of what is said in that book. And that's why there's been no response on it.
Yeah,
Uh,
there must be something. Otherwise, they are just reading it for an ego boast or something like that. I mean, if you read a book, you think about this certain stuff within the book as well. And just because I haven't underlined some things doesn't mean that I wouldn't underline it if I went back in the book and read it a second time.
yes,
And also, me and my book reading group will read this book together as well, like where we read it like this. I read one page, he read one page, I read one page, and then we talk about it like we do with the books we read.
yeah.
We so there will come more out of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a brilliant thing to do because you get in other people's perspectives. So we're doing it with only two people. And
Yeah,
if there were four people, six, eight, 10, then look at all the input that you'd get, all the different perspectives.
yeah,
If you've got educated spiritual people that know something about these topics,
yeah,
then you could speak for 5 hours on one page.
yeah,
And we've done almost an hour now, and you've only read two lines.
yeah. On page 414, I have now mysteriously acquired a finely tuned awareness of spiritual energy fields. I became adept at recognizing in an instant when I had invited in or allowed one of these vampiric parasites to feed on my life force. I say invited because when we know how these vampires manifest, we should know better than to create a negative vibration within our bodies, which then sends out a transmission, an invitation to negative energy feeders or producers. These entities are all around us, wherever we go, invariably wherever human beings are. Our only sanctuary would be to head for the woods or the hills.
Yes, head for the woods or the hills where there are no other human beings around because all human beings carry parasites. Now, when we look at the physical human being, it is a cosmos of
Yeah,
small animals living within us and all over us, a cosmos of small dinosaurs, which
yeah,
the vast majority of people don't want to give any mind to. But every time a person has an itch, you can imagine that there is 10,000 tiny little skin eating, burrowing dinosaurs under your nail, which are causing your skin agitation. That's what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. When you dig at your arsehole, can you imagine there's about a billion
yeah.
under a billion of these little things festering around that hot, sweaty, fetal. It's vile, yes, but that's the reality. And so
Yeah,
when we think about human beings carrying parasites, we do. We're
yeah,
all carrying a whole myriad of parasites. And I still carry some, nothing like the amount I used to. Um, but the ones I carry, I use. I use because they work for me, and the ones I'm carrying, and the ones I've always had a good relationship with, like supercilious. I've spoken about supercilious. Supercilious
yeah,
means when you're haughty and demeaning.
yeah,
Well, what supercilious does to me, it keeps the vast majority of people at arm's length. It prevents them from inundating me with emails and invitations, and from women that find me stimulating and want to try to have a relationship. It keeps most of those away. And so it's my firewall. And, the vast majority of people have got no idea the complexity of what is going on here and what I am doing when I'm doing my videos. Now, this channel that I've got, with the amount of viewers that I've got, a
yeah,
regular a viewership of about 200, that's manageable for me because there's a few comments, and then every now and again, someone will send me an email, and once in a blue moon, someone will say like, it'd be cool to meet, and okay, and all the friends that I've got, I've met through this channel or these channels over the years. And
yeah,
so, what my filter system has done, it's only allowed through the people who weren't offended by anything I said, never felt I was speaking to them, always felt that they could be sitting alongside of me in one of my videos and that, because they felt very much the same, like yourself, for instance. You wouldn't be sitting there now if you was offended about anything I said, or oh, I don't agree with this, oh, I don't agree. That stupid petty mind about it. But you're
yeah,
an inquiring mind. You're an intelligent mind, and some of the things I say, if you don't quite grasp them, you're intrigued as to what is in the depth, and that's the correct way to be. And so that's the sort of people I attract, and all the ones that couldn't hold these conversations. That's why they don't come forward. And when I'm always saying to them, you've read my book, you bought the book, come forward, they can't, because they've read the book and they've realized they're completely out of their depth. And if they don't realize they're out of their depth when they read the book, by the time they listen to conversations such as this, then they'll go,
yeah,
I never saw that in the book. I didn't realize that in the book. Holy fuck. And this is it. Because if anybody really did know all this stuff, then
yeah,
I would have thought, just like you, they would be gunning to come to have a conversation about it.
yeah,
Because it,
yeah. There are so many reasons to have a conversation, you know.
yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. You learn something, and you can share your own experience, and everybody gets something from it, you know.
Yeah, it really is bizarre.
And
Um,
if the English is a little bit bad, it could turn out better by having a conversation like that every now and then, you know.
Yeah, just to
Mm.
practice the English. But with subject matter such as this, which is complicated, if the
Yeah,
English isn't good, then there's so much that they can't express, and I can imagine that'd be very frustrating.
yeah,
So okay, I grant that. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's many reasons why people should engage in this sort of stuff.
yeah,
But obviously, they can think of more reasons why they shouldn't, and so they don't. And so, okay, that's fine with me because I'm not fucking Jordan Peterson interviewing, 5 people every single day of my life because I've got better things to do, and so
yeah.
I simply couldn't do this every day because
No,
I do a lot of singing during
yeah,
the day, and so by the time I'm done talking, my
yeah,
throat's knackered. I just
yeah.
simply couldn't do it every day. And I
Mm.
wouldn't do it every day and sacrifice what I love doing,
Yeah,
also. So yeah, whatever I do on my channel, I've crafted it into such a perfect way, which is perfect for my life.
yeah, exactly. It is a really great opportunity to come and talk, also, you know.
Mm,
I mean, a really great opportunity. Uh, like I look upon, I go to the gym, I talk to you, I read with my friend's book as well. It's always both stimulating and it's building myself up in my mind and so on.
it's a
I
mental
become,
workout.
yeah, yeah, it's a mental workout. I also like psychedelics. It's also a workout for the spirit.
Yeah. And so horses for courses, each to their own. And so
Yeah. So on page 415, when we are vital and positively charged, we are of no interest to negative energy forms because there is no for them
mileage.
to mileage for them to have a relationship with us. Yeah, I think I can relate to that. That's because some people seems to just meet people or get affected in certain ways that I don't. You know?
Right. Yes, and so people they don't know how to protect themselves. They
Yeah,
don't know how to recognize parasites
yeah,
or gremlins, um, and so they leave themselves vulnerable,
yeah,
and then they become attached to them, and so when we are wise and when we are very tuned in spiritually and psychologically, when we encounter people, not only do we feel what their spirit is like or spirits, we can feel and then we can see just by the twinkle of an eye, you can see who's in there.
yeah,
And we watch them how they move and what they say, and within no time at all, we know whether we want to engage with them, have a relationship with them, or not. But many people they can't do that, and so they get beguiled by lots of people. They get used. They get into relationships which turn out very bad, and all different sorts of stuff. Lots of this
yeah,
stuff, of course, will come with age. But then you can see people that they get married 5 times. And it's kind of like,
yeah,
well, they're obviously attracting the same sort of person and they aren't learning any lessons. Or at
no,
least they're not changing themselves. Maybe they're the toxic one and just keep repelling everybody with their same old bullshit. And yet they never ask, is he me? What the fuck's going on? Why am I marrying now for the 5th time? Do I have
yeah,
any confidence that this is going to last? Why do they always break down? Have I been to a psychoanalyst or marriage therapy? It's bizarre. When people they perpetually keep trying again,
yeah,
as if they've got no idea what's going on.
yeah. Yeah, and you could even see a toxic person from a very far distance, you know,
Yeah, I mean, there are
and
some
many
very, very
times.
clever people. There are, con men and women. They're narcissists.
Yeah,
There are genuinely evil people that just want to manipulate you and this, that, and that. But
yeah,
yeah, we have to become very aware. But if we monitor ourselves, if we have a very, very close relationship with ourselves, how we are feeling
yeah,
from a minute to minute basis, we will know. I've been in scenarios whereby I've met somebody, they've started to talk to me or something, and instantly I felt a very powerful negative energy coming
yeah,
from them, like they were the devil himself. And I was out of there, man. I'm just out of there. I'm not beating around. I'm not making no bones about it. I'm not interested. I'm
yeah,
going. But then some of them can be very persuasive and try to, beseech you, this, that, and the other. You can't give in to them. If as soon
yes,
as you
yes,
sensed it, get the fuck out of there.
yeah, yeah. People like that could start on a note that they feel like, he will like that. Then they will turn it over to something else, you know?
Yes.
And yeah, one learns that after a while.
Yeah, and so these are many things that I'm speaking about in this book. How we have to protect ourselves, and
Yeah,
we have to monitor how we feel, and of course we have to absolutely accept that we have attachments.
yeah,
And here's a scenario I talk about also in the book. If you go to work and you're feeling fine, and the sun's shining, and you're feeling great, and somebody in the office has a vile temper, and they start making accusations towards you, or even if they don't do that, you feel that energy, and it permeates you. And then
yeah,
if you're not, shielded, if you don't have your guard up, you'll carry the weight of that, and then
yeah,
you'll say something to somebody else, and somebody else say, "Don't pick on me. It's fucking him that said fucking yeah, well, fucking," and all of a sudden you don't know who to blame because you've all
yeah,
been affected. You've all
yeah,
been infected. But if you know about energies, you go into the office. As soon as you're in that office, you feel the energy of a negative being, and so you go
yeah,
shoom. You shoom. You shut up your shield, and your shield
yeah,
is spirit proof. It's soul proof. It's demon proof, and it doesn't matter what they say or what they do. It doesn't touch you.
yeah,
There's no way you're allowing those little demons, gremlins, to affect you. And so, you can be very nonchalant about that, but you've
yeah,
got to be a spiritual master to be able to engage in this sort of stuff.
yeah. Hmm.
And of course, this happens, throughout every day of normal activity. We meet this person, we meet that person. You sit next to this person on the bus, or all these different sorts of things. You're dealing
Yeah,
with all these energies, and when you become, tuned into this, then it really is. You really do feel as if this planet here is maybe like a cosmic prison where souls from all over the cosmos have been sent here to serve out time, and you can just sense them. You know when some are from another dimension, whether they're very low consciousness, whether they're very high consciousness. When you're in the presence of a very high consciousness, you know that wow, they they have a very special aura about them, and it evidently is from a higher dimension than you are. You know,
Yeah,
I think it's tiered, Andre. I think there's so it's like runs on a ladder. I think this cosmos has all these different tiers, and when we are here, then we're trying to find our own. Really, we're trying to find our own level of consciousness, our own vibration, our own
yeah,
state of evolution.
yeah,
Next question, or next line.
yeah. This is on the same page, 415. We are all aware that when we are feeling low, we can tend very quickly to slump, even lower, and the lower we sink, the more likely it is that we will engage in hostile and self destructive activities, i.e., self harm and abuse, through certain vices. When we engage in physically and mentally harmful substances, or activities, we all know that we are proverbially inviting the devil for dinner. Yeah, there's where the druggies and alcoholics and all those kind of people come in, and yeah, if you're met people that are addicted to any amphetamine or something like that, they have so much demons within themselves.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
They and when they try to get off those kind of stuff, they search for the kicks elsewhere. Maybe they eat a lot of candy instead, and then they maybe start to talk to you, and then they try to get something out of you as well, and then
Yeah.
they love to talk about things that are stimulating, like the substances they have taken and so on.
Yes. When these people have let themselves slump so low, they have gathered up so many demons
Yeah,
uh, that everything they do and say uh, is governed by the demons. It's
yeah,
about to deceive you, to manipulate you, to extract something from you. They want to feed on you. They want to dominate you. Anything that's evil. When a human being has allowed itself to get so low, then it's in this swamp of evil,
yeah,
and it's going to be very, very difficult for them to rise out of it because there's too many demons got attachments to them. And so this is
yeah,
why anyone that's an addict, drug addict, or substance addict or whatever, needs a lot of help from good people all
yeah,
around them. They need an
yeah,
army of good people to drag them out of the clutches and the fetters of these demons.
yeah,
For anybody that's ever known anybody that has been addicted, it literally is like you can see all of these, evil shadow beings hanging on to them, dragging them down, down, down. My best friend died through alcoholism, and I could see that he was riddled with these entities, and as much as the people around him who loved him really wanted to bring him out of it, they weren't strong enough.
mm,
Uh, because he'd been too long, too deep into it, and his whole mind had been perverted, and he loved his demons more than he loved his children and his friends and life itself.
mm,
And, he got into such a level of complacency whereby he was drinking his vodka for breakfast. And, I'd say, look, the doctors told you you're going to be dead within 6 months. And he'd say, you'll probably die before me.
Hmm.
No help. He couldn't be
Yeah.
helped. He couldn't be helped. In such a state of denial. All of his teeth had fallen out. He was absolutely skinny and wretched. His house was a mess. He couldn't maintain any of his relationships with anybody. The doctor told him, "It's over. You're going to be dead in 6 months."
Yeah.
And yeah,
My father has been pretty much like that. He drank vodka like this, like water, you know. He just went into to his storage house, took a bottle of vodka every day, drank it, you know. Um, but he still maintained his teeth and all that kind of stuff because he was a pretty rich guy as well, you know.
right.
So he also tried to eat food and so on. And
Hmm.
when he at the times periods when he tried to lower the alcohol intake, he had like uh, uh, measuring in like deciliters and so on, how
Right.
much he was allow himself to drink each day and
Right.
so on.
Uh-huh.
So he was kind of disciplined around it still. But
Mm.
yeah, he drank a lot.
Well, yeah,
And
some
he had
people.
a lot of demons, or has.
Yeah, yeah. Some people survive it, others don't, and some people manage it much better than others. Of course, there's so many different levels. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, so well, that's again, it's on the same sort of subject of
yeah,
knowing how to protect yourself.
yeah, yeah. This is also on the same page, 415. Our energy certainly feels very low and isn't likely to rise of its own accord when all of the activities we engage in are by their very nature energy draining, i.e., smoking, drinking, drug taking, poor diet, lack of exercise, broken and poor sleeping patterns. Yes. So there comes health into it again, you know, build a foundation of good habits that withstand the less good habits.
Yeah, and these negative attachments, they know when they can't fuck with you.
Yeah,
And when you are a high vibration, then you know only the best of the best will tempt you. And it's kind of like there's a hierarchical system. There's lots of low ones which will, attack lots of people. But when you are very high energy spirited, then only the highest of demons can, try and tempt you with certain things. And again, this is the metaphor of Jesus and Satan in the desert.
yeah,
Um, but by keeping ourselves pure, then we are most certainly in the ballpark to avoid these negative energies wanting to be around us. And I've known all my life that, particularly when I was younger and I was growing up and I was hanging around with a lot of people around town and things like that, and there were a lot of bad people, drug takers and body abusers and thieves and manipulators and all that. And very, very seldom would anybody ever try anything with me because they just saw a level of light, purification, determination that they knew they just couldn't fuck with me.
yeah,
And because you have an aura, and they knew they weren't strong enough for this. And
yeah,
so there was an occasion in this village, many years ago, and there was a drug dealer, and it was cocaine and probably other things as well. And no, it was heroin, yeah, heroin. And
mm,
because uh, heroin's much more addictive than cocaine, I think. And he was talking about, oh, heroin, it really gives you this and that. And I said to him, so what do you think I would be like if I took that? And he said, oh, it wouldn't touch you because you're too strong for it. It would only become addictive for a lesser personality, a weaker personality. So he saw instantly. I was all muscled up and I was always, very healthy and all that. And what they say about these substances, that there is nothing that's really addictive. It's only the mind that falls foul to things by lending itself to wanting to take it more.
Yeah.
And people, they blame the addiction when it's not really the addiction. It's just some people have more of a desire for something.
Yes, yes, I
Whereas you and I,
recognize
we
that.
wouldn't have the desire for
Yeah,
fucking heroin, curling up in a ball, feeling sorry for ourselves, cuddling ourselves. We want to get down the gym. We want to fucking climb mountains and shit. That's where we're
yeah,
getting our rocks off.
yeah, yeah. It's a thing that seems uh, really bad. Yeah, I've seen people taking that kind of stuff, and it looks horrible. It's sickening.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
There was a guy. I was living in this shared house, um, and there was 9 rooms, and I think 7 of them were occupied. And there was one guy um, that was very intelligent and very chatty and friendly and everything like that. But I got to know from the landlord that he was a heroin addict, and I was like, I never had him down for that. He always, seemed presentable and, friendly and never withdrawn or anything like that. And I started to chat with him, and I noticed that he never locked his door when he went out because there's nothing in there to steal. So when he went out one day, I went into his room and I saw his room absolutely just a piece of shit. And I looked around and just off the top of my head, I counted about 100 hypodermic needles, which he'd used to jack up and then just thrown in the room. He could have
Mm,
chewed on them, sat on them, fell on them, anything. That's how his head was in here,
mm,
but he hid it very, very well on
mm.
the exterior. And I felt the demon in the room. That
Yeah.
negative energy preying on him, waiting for him to come back. Oh my god!
Mm. Next page here on 417. We have all witnessed people's moods shifting instantly whenever they become agitated and begin to act out their negative thoughts. And we can see how words can shift a person's energy field just by saying the wrong thing to them without any warning. Their thoughts manifest into negative responses. And when this happens, we have to know that there is a significant energy shift from positive to negative actions. Yeah, words is like spells and so on. Yeah,
Yep.
and that is an important thing to be aware of. For real, that words are like spells.
Yeah, in my life, I've known some of these very, very toxic people, and one woman in particular. If I inquired into what she was doing when she knew she shouldn't do it, then a demon would instantly be on the attack. a violent demon would be fucking and cussing and make you back down in an instant because you've touched on something that they don't want. The collection of demons they don't want reminding, and they hide that from you. But if you are astute and if you see it, they hate the fact that you see it, and all of a sudden you'll get attacked by a very verbally violent demon until you go, whoa, whoa, that is definitely a no go area. And then you know more about them. You know that they're protecting something in there. And you know that they're vehemently lying and manipulative and all different sorts of stuff. Um, and so when we experience things like that, it'd be wise to walk away, but I
Yeah,
never walked away in this particular instance because I was very intrigued. I was very
yeah,
intrigued by this person. And
yeah,
I hung around till in the end I got burnt.
yeah, yeah.
uh,
Can
you
be
know,
good to have some cautious sometimes.
yeah, yeah. You see, before I went to America,
Yeah,
every spirit in my body told me not to go and told me 1,000 reasons why I shouldn't go. And I was so confused about the whole thing.
yeah,
Um, and the only reason I did go is because I just wanted to find out what the end of the story was, you know,
yeah,
because it was such a bizarre story. I just wanted to see what the fucking end was because this journey was going to make or break it. And as it turns out, it was broken. But it was always broken. It just hadn't been broken. It hadn't happened. It was always broken, but it
yeah.
hadn't happened, you know? Yeah.
You went against your intuition.
Absolutely. I went
Yeah,
against my higher self. Even God and the angels were looking out for me, and they advised me not to go. Very,
yeah,
very powerfully. If you ever get these powerful intuitions, people, you've got to go with them.
yeah. Yeah, I shouldn't distrust my intuition when it's at its strongest because sometimes I also wanted to try if the intuition is wrong, but it probably isn't if the feeling is strong. Yeah,
That's it. That's exactly. You see, I learned a massive amount from that because I said to myself, look, I'm having these really, really powerful, intuitive feelings that I shouldn't go. I
yeah,
need to test that to know if I can rely on it for the rest of my life.
yeah,
Now I know absolutely, categorically, that I can rely on my guardian angels, instincts, higher spirit, spiritual guardians, whatever is going on. There's lots of
yeah,
that stuff going on. As to what it is exactly, who knows? But I know that
yeah,
now and any other time, I'm going to be taking their advice. But I needed to know if it was just silly voices in your head,
yeah,
insecurities, fears,
yeah,
you know. So
yeah,
I put everything to the test, and I learned a massive amount from everything that manifests out of that.
yeah. Hmm.
Which one day I'll write a book about. I'm going to write a book about, but I don't talk about it now because it's
Yeah,
too deep, it's too complex, it's
yeah,
too negative.
yeah,
Um, but I will one day.
yeah. Need to put the puzzle pieces together. But
Yeah.
it's interesting because then I also see that I shouldn't push against my intuition. Even if I go by my intuition, I have pushed against certain times. Now I'm
Well,
more sure.
I tell you what I would do.
Yeah,
When you only have a small intuition,
Yeah.
For instance, if you feel that you shouldn't go to this party, you shouldn't go on that holiday, and it's kind of like, something's telling me that's not right, and this that, and the other. If it doesn't feel so powerful, then you've got to test it,
Yeah.
and then if nothing happens, then you go, why was I having all of these, you know, intuitive thoughts if nothing happened? And then it's kind of like, how can I rely on my intuition? But of course, if you did go and something did happen and you went, oh my God, this is why I was warned not to go here, then it will tell you
Yeah.
something very, very powerful. But what I would say is that probably these intuitive thoughts don't always manifest.
Yeah.
So it isn't a given every time. It's a general consensus of a higher self, which is assessing the situation and just thinking, I don't think this is a good move. Could be wrong,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's a good move.
But one could also see that it could be minor things like, yeah, if I didn't do this, I my sleeping pattern would be better and I would have more energy or something like that,
Yeah,
because that didn't serve a purpose, and it would be a better purpose to do what felt
yeah.
being
So
on
you
the right
you
track.
you, you can feel very intuitive about lesser things as well.
Yeah,
Um, but as long as we have an awareness all the time, whether they're low or whether they're high, whether they're small or whether they're big, just keep an awareness about these, and then you'll steer clear from tragedy.
yeah. So next line on also 417. If someone thinks negative thoughts all the time, then we can almost see a cloud of dark energy hanging around these people. And it is often said that you could cut the air with a knife around them. The observe the obverse is also true. Joyous, loving thoughts can move mountains and inspire people to achieve great things. Who doesn't enjoy the energy field of a charismatic person? Yeah, that's the navigation around the better and the worse, so to speak.
Yeah, again, it's being open and astute to it, and feeling it. Um,
Yeah,
you see, lots of stuff comes into it. We've got the psychological assessment.
yeah,
We have our gut feeling assessment. We have
yeah,
our intuitive assessment. And then we've got some sort of internal dialogue from guardian spirits or something like this. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on. You see,
yeah,
um, when we take mushrooms,
yeah,
we have a mushroom uh, monologue. It's an absolute distinct monologue coming from the mushroom, and
yeah,
it is alongside our thoughts, and we go,
yeah,
oh, that's the mushroom voice. And we always hear people when we listen to these trip reports, the mushrooms told me this, the mushrooms told me that. Yeah, the mushrooms talk to you, they tell you, they advise you, they offer you all different sorts of wisdom, and you can listen to it or not. But most certainly, when we take those, there is a voice, an entity there, and it's a very, very distinct one. So, it's a spirit. Obviously, it's a spirit. It's a spirit that can communicate with your consciousness, within your consciousness. These spirits we're all within consciousness. And so, it's like, like neurons in our brain, they're all kind of individual, but they're all connected. So it's all one. So we are connected with all of these spirits, astral beings, and all different sorts of things. But in a certain vibration, they become in our frequency.
Yeah.
And so, that is just an instantiation. Then, when we take other substances, we will get other internal monologues. If we take too much alcohol, spirits, or something, we'll get very negative ones that tell you to
Yeah.
do that. And so it says it. These drinks are called spirits for a very good reason. Um,
Yeah.
because they manifest spirits. They're spirits in a bottle. And so anybody that doubts that we are absolutely bathing within spirit is a fool.
Yeah. Here I have, this is the last underlining I have.
Okay, that's cool because you know we're up to 1 hour and 35 minutes already.
Yeah. When we engage in thinking, we will become inharmonious, insecure, disconnected, and oftentimes confused. Many of these mindsets are invariably subliminal because we had become so accustomed to feeling at least one of those mindsets throughout our everyday lives. Most people have no idea what a blissful empty mind feels like because they have never experienced it. When we are confused or in a mind state of internal conflict, we are metaphorically in hell.
Hmm.
Yeah,
This would be a good one to end it on.
yeah. All the conflicting thoughts that are bouncing into each other. Um, so I can be conflicted nowadays at times. Mostly it is my vertigo
Hmm.
because it's always there. But when I remind myself, I also remind myself that this is the training ground. And if this disappears, then I will have become stronger throughout the process as well.
Yeah.
Then I have the conflict of thinking about, my money is running out.
Hmm.
Okay, I need to eat food after the gym. Uh, I think I might not get so nervous that some people would be when it comes to not having food, because
Hmm.
I know that I can fast a long time as well.
Yes.
But it could be good to get enough food when you've been to the gym.
Yeah. So, that's really quite something in this day and age when you are worrying about whether you can feed yourself or not
Yeah,
adequately.
yeah,
We nobody should be speaking like this these days.
yeah,
But I was like that, for a long time, on and off throughout my life, walking around the streets with no money at all, and uh, looking for ways whereby I could obtain food and going to charities, food banks, and one day I was walking through a park and I saw um, what I knew to be a sandwich uh, thrown in one of these bins. and I knew it was a sandwich because it was square, like two slices of bread put together in cooking foil, silver cooking foil, like people wrap sandwiches every day. And so
Yeah.
someone thought, oh, I don't want that sandwich, and they threw it on the bin. So I saw it and I was hungry and I picked it up and I opened it and it seemed like it was very nicely prepared. It was white bread and the cheese sandwich, and my mouth started to salivate. And I thought to myself, well, look, if I eat this sandwich from the bin, I've accepted that I can't get food any other way, and then I'll have a more of a propensity to start taking more food, looking in the bin.
Yeah.
Particularly outside McDonald's. McDonald's people will eat half a burger or they'll leave something, and you often see homeless people looking through all these and eating this and a few French fries and this, that, and the other. I thought to myself, well, look, I've been given an opportunity to see how low I will go. I wrapped the sandwich back up and I put it back on the bin and I walked away. And I decided I'm going to find food another way. And so then, I don't know, miraculously, I just had these thoughts about going to find the food banks in the city. And I found a food bank, and, within a couple of hours, then I had a couple of big bags of food, all rubbish, of course, pasta, sugar, and just, tin this and that. But at least it was food. And so, yeah, we'll be tested to see how low we want to go.
Yeah,
Um,
because I always want meat and egg, you know?
mm,
And today, my friend is a chef. He's really good at cooking food, you know? He gave me really good lasagna with a
mhm.
lot of meat inside of it.
Right.
So I eat that today. Generally, I eat less carbs and so on, but this was really nice to eat also. You know?
Yeah. Mm. Um, so what was that line about? What was that line about?
It was about yeah, becoming inharmonious when thoughts go haywire. You
Yes.
know,
And I'm saying that, many people, they don't know what a empty mind is like.
yeah,
But um,
exactly.
I, I'm conflicted about that because I've since discovered that there are lots of people who don't have internal monologues or dialogues. They do, in actual fact, have empty heads, and they don't actually think for themselves. Thoughts make manifest, but they're not created through an internal discourse. They don't think through problem solving or things like this. It appears, it seems that they are being fed by society, because when we speak to these people who don't have an internal dialogue, and we say to them, so, well, you don't have any thoughts in your head. Can't, no. Don't you ever think like, oh, should I have a sandwich or should I wait till eat my dinner? They go, no. If I just feel like a sandwich, I go and eat a sandwich. So you don't question yourself, you don't debate yourself about the sandwich. No. And so that's very, very peculiar because they don't seem to have the facility of a conscience in there. Because look, if it's like it's 10 o'clock in the morning and there's beer in the fridge and you just feel like a beer, um, there's certain ramifications to drinking at 10 o'clock in the morning. You've
Yeah,
got to ask yourself, hang on, I might start to like drinking at 10 o'clock in the morning. That's not good. Because does that mean I'm going to be drinking all day long? Who drinks at 10 o'clock in the morning? Alcoholics drink at 10 o'clock in the morning. So I personally, would have a big problem with that.
yeah,
But if you don't have a dialogue, then you don't have this conscience, which is going to say, that's not a good idea. You're going to look at the beer and you're going to either drink it or you're not. And
Yeah.
so this is why I'm always saying that there should be much more research about that. People should be talking about it a whole lot more because it is a massive, big deal. But for those that, you see, my daughter, she has a fiance who doesn't have a monologue. And he's a very simple, placid, pleasant guy.
Yeah.
He'll never be a rocket scientist. He's just a simple, affable person without any internal conflict about anything. He never gets like, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. He never gets any guilt or anything like that. He really is like he's a battery operated drone or radio controlled. If you've got a little soldier and then someone's going like this, it seems that that's what lots of these people are like. um and I begin to wonder who is better off, the people with no monologues or dialogues. Because when you have a dialogue or maybe a trialogue, well, you've got a lot of conflict going on, potentially, yeah.
But then he already have everything made up for him, because he's already been told as a child what he should vote for, what all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So that's already there. Yeah, yeah, that's what I
And
do.
the television tells him every day what he should be afraid of or not, and what he should do, whether he should wear a mask, whether he should get vaxxed or whatever. His boss tells him everything to do whilst he's at work, you know. And so, you see, look, when you ask these people a question about what do you think about the afterlife? Oh, 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 I never thought about that. You go, what do you think about war? Do you think it's good or do you think it's bad? Uh, oh, well, I suppose. It's all like that. They've never actually thought about anything. And it's kind of like, how do you people get on from day to day, not thinking about anything? Invariably they don't read books. They'll just watch telly or movies or flick through their phone. That's all they're ever doing. You see, all the amount of people walking down the streets or whatever they're doing, phone, 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 phone. Well, they're
Yeah,
obviously not thinking, because if they were thinking, then they wouldn't need the fucking phone. You know what I'm saying, Andre? You don't need to
yeah,
flick through for constant source of entertainment because you've got it all going on in here.
yeah,
I made a video 10 years ago and I said I've traveled all over the world, mostly on my own, and I would never ever had one moment of loneliness. Why
yeah,
is that? Because I've never been alone. How can an active mind, which is so versatile, be lonely?
yeah,
I just can't imagine what loneliness is.
yeah. Yeah, I have also had a hard time grasping loneliness in that way, you know? Um, hmm.
I mean, look, you may
Because
have a.
I hadn't felt, I'm so alone, I'm just by myself. No, I mean, there's a lot of stuff to do when you're on your own as well, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And there's so many things to think about. There's so much to see. You see, all my videos, I can't go anywhere without observing something that I think's interesting. And
yeah,
so, this is why, people may like my videos, because I'm so versatile. I'm so diverse. I'm so um, um, seemingly random, the things I will just speak about, because I find absolutely everything fascinating.
yeah,
And so there. And it's not like my mind is full of this thought and that. It isn't. You know, I, I think probably as a younger person, my head was full with business and things I needed to do. But since I don't have a business anymore and I've stopped all that, then my mind isn't the sort of mind that has a natural propensity to always be thinking about, oh, should I do this or should I do that? Or what if this and what if that? Or he said this and she said that. No. And it may have something to do with 14, 15 years of meditation, but my mind is pretty still. And it's just ticking over. Oh, look at that over there. Oh, that looks interesting. Let me see if I can look a little bit closer. Oh, look at this and look at that. And so that's how my mind is, curious, inquiring all the time. It's not burdened and dragged down
Yeah,
with bullshit. And like I say, Andre, this is why I'm speaking about who wants to carry the weight of memories? Why would you want any memories? The only memories that I'm remotely interested in keeping are the ones of when I was growing up with my daughter. My daughter was growing up with me when we were both growing up together. They're the
yeah,
only memories that I'm remotely interested in keeping
mm,
because they mean so much to me. Uh,
yeah,
and to be fair, she's the only person on the world I care about.
yeah,
Um, and so everything else I can have amnesia about every single thing else.
yeah,
And why would it matter if I lost my memory? People will say, "Oh, you don't know who you are." Oh, no, I do know who I am. I know who I am today, here and now. Um,
yeah,
do you think that you were this person yesterday, last week, last month, last year, last decade? Of course. I mean, I don't know. Real human beings, we evolve and we change, and we
yeah,
are never the same person. And it's like one of the great philosophers says: you cannot step in the same river twice.
yeah,
Um, you get out of bed each morning, potentially a different day, but most people don't seem to. They seem to be always stepping in the same river or the same
yeah.
pond.
Yeah, as some people even say, yeah, I am the one I always been, you know.
Yeah.
They are never changing.
Yeah, and probably that's true for some people, because when I used to travel abroad as a very young man, 20, 25, 30, and I'd come back from far-flung places, and I'd be telling all the crazy stories, and my friends always used to say, "Have changed." Because I am evolved, I'm new, I'm different. Whereas they were never ever changed. And then one of my friends made an observation about one of our other friends coming back. He spent 5 years in South Africa, and he never changed a single iota, not a
Mm,
single thing. His perception never changed, the way he spoke, the way he acted, nothing changed. And yet he'd
uh,
been the other side of the world for 5 years in a different
mm,
culture.
yeah,
How does anybody do that?
yeah, yeah,
I mean, the more you look at the human being, the more it just blows you away.
yeah,
Uh, you see, the thing is, like, there isn't a human being. This human being is just a very, very broad, nonsensical concept. There are individuated souls. Some people have spirits. Some people have many spirits. But the human being, um, it's most certainly a misnomer to ever consider that you are categorizing something which is the same. We most certainly aren't the same. There's so much diversity, it is unbelievable when you start to look into it.
yeah,
And then you would most certainly start to consider that all these different souls, spirits, they come from different constellations, different time zones, different dimensions. There's a whole bunch of stuff. You see, we only see a tiny slither of vision with our eyes. We only hear a tiny slither of the sound. And what people say is that these elementals and astral beings, they are all around everywhere. at this moment
Yeah.
in time, but they're in a different frequency. It's like when we tune in a radio dial very, very finely to one fine line and we pick up Radio Moscow. Well, all the
Yeah.
other radio frequencies are all around the room. We only need to turn the dial to get radio fucking Beijing or Peking or fucking whatever Beijing Peking. So it's just a fine shift in vibration.
Yeah.
So we'll round this up in about 7 minutes, Andre. Then 2 hours again.
Yes. It has been an interesting conversation as always.
Yeah, and every time we have one of these conversations, we're only ever scratching the surface. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, and we could have these conversations forever. That's the
Yeah.
nature of psychologically, philosophically inclined people. There's almost always something to investigate, and you see, I look at myself now, and I go, "Well, look, what do I want to do?" You see, a friend of mine was speaking to about promoting my book, and I'm like, I don't have the inclination to do it. I don't even have the inclination to send a PDF to any video blogger or anything like that. Hey, would you like to read my book? And if you liked it, we could have a chat about it. I really don't have the inclination because I just don't have the time.
Mm.
I am so busy. I have now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 videos up on my toolbar of things that I want to watch. Of course, I just see so many videos and feeds that, oh, that's going to be interesting. Got to watch that. Got to watch this. Got to watch that. And then I've got my own things what I want to investigate and research. There's never enough hours in the day for me as it is. I couldn't imagine what it would be like some of these people out there that always have a pristine shirt on and they're always in a different office or a different backdrop and they've got to set up all the microphones and they're speaking with this person from the other side of the fucking world or they've travelled to go and speak. Oh my god,
Mm.
unimaginable, unimaginable.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
so I look at and I'm like, how do they do it? How do they do it? If it's unimaginable, what is exactly the logistics of it? Do they get up every morning at 4 a.m.? Do they get in a taxi to the airport on a plane and they arrive in a different state by 10 a.m. and then they get a taxi for another hour and then they set up their equipment and they do that and then they go back and then they do it all again the next day? Every day? It seems like they do.
Mm. Yeah. You play a vast amount of guitar. You sing and all that kind of stuff, and you watch all those videos and so on. They might reduce some other things in their life in order to keep on their company going, so to speak.
Yeah, so they can't be playing guitar, they can't be doing any sport, they can't be pursuing any thing pleasurable. It must be work, 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 work. Got to achieve, got to get my numbers. Got to keep the billions coming in, like a drug. Um, and yeah, I just go, well, look,
I'm sure they would be able to scratch out an hour in the morning for something, at least.
yeah, you'd think so,
Or
but they're so busy, they're so high profile, and the internet is full of these videos, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. Um, Look, the logistics. if like Jordan Peterson wants to speak with so and 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 so, okay, Jordan Peterson's a millionaire by now, and he's got people to arrange that. He's got people to book his flight, to take him to the taxi, to do everything. All he's got to do is be the vehicle that goes there and does
Yeah.
it. People preparing his food and everything. Okay, yes, but the lesser people that don't have that privilege and facility, they've got to do it all themselves. They've got to do a lot of research. They've got to listen to what people say and make up their mind whether they want to speak to this person and get a handle on their psychology, what questions they're going to ask. They're going to have to write down 50 questions and think about it long and hard. Then they send them an email and they don't get an answer back. Then they send them another email and they don't get an answer back. And it's kind of like, oh, why is this person not answering me? Maybe if I send an email to somebody else, that they can send an email to. Oh, there's got to be all this stuff going on. And then you've got the
Mm.
time differences with time zones and everything. And this person can only speak to you at your time, 2 a.m., because they've
Mm.
got too many obligations and, all this stuff.
Mm.
Um, I just look at it and I find it absolutely bewildering, overwhelmingly bewildering and complex.
Mm.
And so uh, if people did a fly on the wall documentary as to what their day or week was like, that would be super interesting, you know?
Mm. Yeah.
And so I spend, several hours each day learning songs. And I'm doing singing practice and running through scales and all different sorts of boring, stupid shit like that. And then when I put up a song which is finished, it's took hundreds of hours, years to be able to do this at that
Yeah.
level. And people, oh yeah, I know that song a little bit, and they don't think about anything what's gone into that. So
Yeah.
I was thinking, well, what I might start doing is I might start putting up videos which are called the making of a certain song. Like, for instance, I sing Norwegian Wood, and the amount of times I had to play ding, 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 ding. And every time that does that all through the song, you've only got to make one mistake and the song's ruined.
Yeah.
So you got to do it thousands and thousands of times. So what I've started to think now, I'm not going to be always looking for perfection. I'm not in a studio. I'm not recording a fucking record. My life doesn't depend on it. So I can make mistakes and I can just carry on. I can just redo that one verse or line and carry on. It's
Yeah.
fucking life. It's real. But what I thought I'd do is I put up a video of me running through the songs when I first began to learn it and all the horrible mistakes in it, and
Yeah.
then show people how I have to modify my voice and how I have to learn the strumming rhythm and the pattern and all these things.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking it's kind of like people might find that interesting.
Mm.
What do you think about that?
It's hard to say what people find interesting right off the bat, like that,
Yeah,
you know. Um, a musically inclined person will probably find it interesting because they can relate to it and so on.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But
Yeah.
I think everybody loves to see the excerpts of a movie which didn't make it into the movie.
Mm.
The blunders and all the mistakes and the laughs and all things like that. Some movies at the end they'll have like a few clips of things that never made it into the movie, and they're
Yeah.
really fun. And I think everybody should enjoy those really on some
Mm.
level. And so uh, the difficulty is I don't edit any of my videos, so I can't condense it. I can't show somebody, oh, how I modified this line or how I, try to reach that note to a very small, few seconds or 30 seconds or something before people lose interest,
Yeah.
because as you say, I mean, some people say to me, those videos on Providence are boring. I'm like,
Mm.
how could anybody be bored about? the beautiful relationship that I have with that wild animal and her little
Yeah.
babies. How can anybody be bored of that? It, you know, but people are, and so
Hmm.
we're all different, aren't we? But anyway,
Yeah.
for me, it doesn't matter
Yeah.
who's fucking bored or who's not on my channel because I don't really give a fuck.
Yeah,
Um,
you see yourself what's interesting and not
yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
Like,
I just
of course, it's cool to see somebody having a squirrel and fostering it and so on. Yeah,
Yeah, I would have thought so. Some
yeah,
people love it, but then when I put the videos up, the views are getting less and less. It's kind of like, oh, I
yeah,
saw that squirrel. It's kind of like, if you have a tree in your front garden
yeah.
and you've looked at the tree once and then you never look at it again. Oh, it's a tree. Oh, I've seen that. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah,
It's retarded because that tree is different every single second of every fucking day.
yeah,
And
and
if
in from different angles and all
different
that kind
angles,
of stuff.
different weather, different wind and sunshine and different seasons, it's a living entity. It's like, a human being wearing different clothes and doing different things and different hairstyles and different attitudes, dispositions, and happy and angry. How would we ever say to a human being, "Oh yeah, I know Andre. I've seen him once." It's stupid. But
Yeah,
there are so many very, very stupid people out there
yeah,
which think like this about everything. And so the only thing that triggers their um, consciousness, if they have it, is looking in their phone.
yeah,
And that's it. And,
yeah,
and, and probably, you see them in the gym, don't you, Andre?
yeah.
There's,
All the time.
they can't even leave the phone for fucking half an hour or an hour.
Yeah,
And
it's
every time
weird.
between a set, they've got to pick the phone up again and start scrolling through and looking into what the fuck is wrong with these retards?
Yeah. Yeah, it's really no dedication to anything full on because the
Mm,
phone always need to be there, so to speak.
yeah, and they're absolutely governed by it. They
Yeah,
couldn't live without it. And
no.
I've seen instances 3 times with 3 friends of mine, very, very powerful instances when they had lost their phone. And they were panic stricken, and
Mm,
everything in their world came to an end. They had to find that fucking phone like it was their life cord. And I'm like, what the fuck is in that phone?
mm.
What the fuck is in that phone? Is your
Yeah,
soul in that phone, cunts?
yeah.
Your soul
It's
must be
like
in
a
that
body
fucking phone.
part to them, yeah?
Yeah, your soul, your heart, your fucking brains must be in that phone.
Yeah,
And, fucking, honestly, the cosmos better have mercy on these fuckers
yeah.
because it ain't going to fare well for them. It ain't faring
I
well.
mean I leave my phone inside if I'm with friends and so on in nature. But the only thing I almost use the phone for is look at the clock most often. You know,
Right. What do you want to look at the clock for? Why is that so important?
I'm obsessed about time and so on. Sometimes, yeah, I could really have a clock here instead. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. I
so,
mean, yeah. For me, I don't need to know the time.
hmm.
I don't need to know what time it is to go to the gym. I don't need to know what time it is to get up, what time it is to go to bed, what time it is to eat. I don't need to know the time for anything.
Hmm. I like to. For instance, if I would drink coffee or if I want to take kratom or something like that, I would think, I want to take it that time, and then I don't know what it's like in a form of a time addiction. I think I have
Yeah,
started to
an
realize.
idiosyncrasy that some level of attachment, probably stemming from your childhood somewhere. Uh, Yeah, why is that so important? But yeah, okay. So all right then, Andre. So we'll wrap this one up. And so we're all up to date then. What page are you on? 400 and what?
400 and um, 436.
Okay, so you've got like 330 pages to go
Yeah,
because that book's oh no, 405, 6. No, you've got like 200 pages, 230 pages because it's 670 pages in that book, isn't it?
yeah, yeah, it is.
Yeah. Ah, so probably, I don't know, another 5 sessions or something.
Yeah,
Might be more because it gets complex. Anyway, it doesn't matter how many sessions, as long as you enjoy it and I enjoy it.
yeah,
That's all that matters, isn't it? Yeah. All right. Well, just drop me a line when you're ready for the next one,
yeah, I do
um,
so.
and we'll crack on with it. Um, yeah, we're going to be getting into some. Uh,
Tao Te Ching and stuff like that,
Sorry.
maybe. Tao Te Ching and stuff like
Yeah,
that,
yeah, we're
maybe.
getting into some other people's work. We're getting into Carl Jung. We're getting into um, Darwin. The subject matter. We've got the Big Bang. We've got the evolution. We've got the simulation. We have um, um, have we done love and hate and all those concepts? I don't know. Anyway, yeah,
Mm.
there's a lot more stuff in there, and a deep stuff of a deep global magnitude of what people have proclaimed about the world. Is
Yeah,
it evolution? Is it a simulation? The collective unconscious, the collective consciousness, morphic resonance, and the Akashic records, and all these different ways to look at and interpret the world. So we're going to get into some of that.
yeah,
All right, great stuff. Enjoy the rest of your evening, what you've got left, Andre, and I'll speak with you soon, mate.
yeah. Have a nice evening.
Thanking you. See you in a bit, bro.
Yeah, bye.
Ciao.